Arthur Schopenhauer did not start a pessimist. He was not born believing that life is a cruel joke, that morality is a tool for the powerful, or that human existence is a battle where only the ruthless win. He learned it through experience, through betrayal, through observation. His journey began like many others, full of ambition, curiosity, and an unshakable belief in reason. But by the time he formulated his masterpiece, The World as Will and Representation, he had become a philosopher of darkness, a thinker who exposed life's brutal, mechanical truth. His conclusion: life is not fair, power is not moral, and those who rise to the top are rarely the best among us. Stay with me, because today we are diving deep into one of the most unsettling truths about human nature. Schopenhauer's philosophy wasn't born in an ivory tower. It came from pain, failure, and seeing the world for what it truly is. He was supposed to be great. Johanna Schopenhauer, his mother, was a renowned author, and his father, a successful merchant, expected him to take over the family business. But from an early age, Schopenhauer saw that the world was not governed by intelligence or justice, but by cunning, social influence, and brute force. His father, whom he admired, saw the world raw and unfiltered, not through idealism, but hard reality. The world is not a rational place, and men are not rational beings, Schopenhauer wrote. His father died under mysterious circumstances, either by suicide or an accident. His mother, famous, charming, and socially powerful, rejected him. When he finally published his magnum opus, he expected recognition, a place in history, prestige. Instead, silence, because he published his work at the same time that Hegel, a man he despised, was dominating the academic world. Schopenhauer hated Hegel, not just for his ideas, but because he saw Hegel as the embodiment of the fraudulence that the world rewards. Hegel was verbose, overly complex, and obsessed with vague metaphysical theories that Schopenhauer saw as nonsense. Yet Hegel had what Schopenhauer lacked: institutional power. Hegel played the game. He aligned himself with those in control. And Schopenhauer? He refused to bow. He was arrogant, dismissive. He lectured on purpose at the same time as Hegel. The result? His classroom was empty. Hegel won. Not because he was smarter, not because his philosophy was more profound, but because he understood how to gain and maintain power. And Schopenhauer? He was cast aside. His genius was ignored for decades. This experience shaped his entire worldview. Schopenhauer's most significant insight came from his deep study of Eastern philosophy, notably Buddhism and Hinduism. He realized that human nature is not rational. It is biological. We are not moral beings seeking fairness. We are animals driven by an irrational, blind force, what he called the will to life. This will is not noble or compassionate. It is a relentless, selfish, and cruel drive to survive and dominate. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills, Schopenhauer wrote. Is everything you think a conscious decision? It's an illusion. You are a puppet of instincts you cannot control. And the people who rise to power, they are the ones who are least burdened by conscience. The good hesitate, the ruthless act. The good questions themselves. The ruthless impose their will. The good want fairness. The ruthless create the rules that ensure they always win. The will to life does not care about justice. It does not care about kindness. It rewards those who dominate, manipulate, and seize power. But why does this system continue to repeat itself? Because the will to life is not only blind, it is deceptive. It does not present itself as brute force alone. It wears masks. It disguises power as virtue, coercion as cooperation, and oppression as necessity. The greatest trick of the will to life is that it convinces even the most ruthless that they are righteous, that their domination is justified, and that their success is the result of merit, not manipulation. This is why the most successful tyrants, corporate overlords, and political despots do not see themselves as villains. They see themselves as inevitable. But this deception doesn't just exist in the powerful, it exists in all of us. Schopenhauer believed that most people do not act out of pure rational thought, but out of deeply ingrained biological impulses. The drive to conquer, control, and accumulate are not rational choices. They are primal urges dressed up as ambition, success, and power. The will to life hides behind ideology. It makes people believe that their victories are moral victories, that their selfishness is justified, and that their exploitation of others is how the world works. This is why history repeats itself. Those who gain power believe they were meant to have it, and those who suffer under them are conditioned to accept their fate. Schopenhauer saw human history as a brutal cycle in which the strong always win, not because they are better, but because they are willing to do what the weak will not. But does this mean that resistance is futile? Schopenhauer did not advocate surrender. He did not say we should embrace the will to live and become ruthless. Instead, he warned us to see the game for what it is, recognizing that the world operates not on fairness but on will, strength, and deception is essential. And if you do not understand this, you will always be at the mercy of those who do. We don't need to take Schopenhauer's word for it. History itself is the proof. Julius Caesar promised the people democracy, then dismantled the republic to make himself ruler for life. Napoleon Bonaparte spoke of liberty, then crowned himself emperor, refusing to kneel before any king but himself. Rockefeller and Carnegie didn't rise through fair competition. They monopolized entire industries, crushed opponents, and rewrote the rules of capitalism in their favor. None of these men were the most moral or intelligent. They were the most strategic, fearless, and visionary, seeing the world for what it was, not what they were told it should be. And here's the most unsettling truth. The world did not punish them for it. It rewarded them. Because power is not won by those who deserve it, it is taken by those who understand it. Schopenhauer understood something that most people refuse to accept. People do not follow the good. They follow strength. But this is where the story gets darker. It's not just that bad people rise to power. Society helps them do it. Think about it. Who writes history? Who controls the narratives that shape our understanding of the world? The victors. The rulers, the ones who won the game. Caesar did not just take power, he convinced the masses that he was their savior. Napoleon did not seize France by brute force, he used charisma, propaganda, and fear to make people beg for his rule. Rockefeller wasn't seen as a villain, he was admired, respected, and even idolized for his wealth and success. Why? Because people do not crave fairness, they crave certainty. A leader who appears decisive, powerful, and dominant, even corrupt, will always command a following. A manipulator who understands human nature, who plays on fear, desire, and ambition will always be able to control the masses. And this is the most incredible illusion of all. The people who suffer under power are often the ones who reinforce it the most. Look at history again. The French did not resist Napoleon's rule, they adored him. The Romans did not fight Caesar's dictatorship, they cheered for him. The working class did not rebel against Rockefeller, they bought into the myth of the self-made billionaire. Even in modern times, the masses idolize billionaires, corrupt politicians, and ruthless business leaders not despite their power, but because of it. They mistake domination for greatness. And this is why the game is rigged. It's not that the goods fail to rise. It's that the world does not want them to. It rewards those who play by a different set of rules. Schopenhauer understood that power has never been about morality, it has always been about perception. And the moment you stop believing that justice will fix this world, you will finally see the truth. So, what do we do with this knowledge? Should we abandon morality and become ruthless ourselves? Schopenhauer did not believe in winning the game. He believed that wisdom lies in seeing through it. A man is wise when he does not suffer over things beyond his control. This is where Schopenhauer's philosophy diverges from Nietzsche, Machiavelli, and the modern obsession with power. Schopenhauer believed that the only true escape from this brutal game is to detach from it, to stop chasing illusions, to stop expecting fairness from the world, to live with clarity rather than delusion. The most significant power, he believed, was in not being ruled by desire at all. Now that you see the truth, you have two choices. You can ignore it. You can continue believing that the world is fair, that morality is the path to success, and that the system is designed to reward the best among us. Or you can wake up. Schopenhauer did not teach power. He taught freedom. Freedom from illusions. Freedom from expectations. Freedom from the lies we were taught. Because once you see through the game, you can never be manipulated again. And those who cannot be ruled are the ones who are genuinely free.